this to my beloved's family when we met with them, because there's often a misunderstanding of us, like when we first meet people and they're like, oh, they're so, I think what they said about AJ, she's so shy. She's so shy and so antisocial. And I was like, not at all. She's very social, but she's very, she's very sensitive. And so am I. And so when we walk into a gathering of like 30, 40 people, and we're used to being at home in our sacred space where it's us and it's really quiet and peaceful, it's a huge, like, energetic shocker. And so the reason I love leading these empowering empath mentorships and helping clients with this, and like Cindy and I, we've done a lot of soul coaching together remotely, is helping her to see it's okay to be sensitive and it's okay to honor the empath that you are. And that doesn't mean you're shy or antisocial. It means that you feel energy very quickly and powerfully. So part of it's like educating others to understand us. And so like with the family, I was telling them, I hear what you're saying about AJ, but she's actually very social and very sweet child. And she would talk to you if you go and connect with her. But when we walk into the house and there's 30 people talking at one time, it's like we just walked into an energetic, like, explosion. And we're discerning all the frequencies and like feeling them and reading them. And it's just like overwhelming. And so sometimes we walk in, people are talking to her and she doesn't respond. And so they're like, oh, she's so antisocial. And I'm like, no, she can't hear you because there are so many people talking. She's trying to tune all that noise out and she's trying to focus on one thing. And this is something we need to start to honor in each other, is realize that, those that are sensitive souls and they're empaths, they often will become very introverted and they'll kind of shy away from social events. And it's not because they're antisocial. It's because they feel all that energy and it's overwhelming. But if people could understand that and kind of support them and give them a few moments, which is what I requested from the family, when we come over, just give us a half an hour. Like, let us go put our coat down and kind of sit in the living room and kind of settle in. And let us just observe you for a little while without thinking we're judging you, because we're not. We're just sitting there and we're kind of anchoring in our own frequency and we're observing everything. And then we can start to connect one-on-one with people. But it's something that it's taken me a while to really own that for myself. And now I love and get so much joy of helping empower other empaths, because I feel like we don't need to walk around with these labels of thinking that we're antisocial and we're shy, when really we're just sensitive. And the sensitive is not a weakness. It's not a label of something's wrong with us. Sensitivity is a strength. It's a gift. The reason I can help people and tune into their auric field and help them clear things from past lives and all the magic that I do that helps lives change in powerful ways, that is from my sensitivity. And so I've learned to honor the fact that I have very sensitive antennae that reach out and they're feeling and they're discerning the energy always. And this is a gift. Like, many of us that are very sensitive souls, we're healers and shamans that are here to help humanity. But when we don't understand and we haven't been taught, or let's say supported in who we are, we start to take on those roles and those titles of, she's sensitive, meaning there's weakness there, or she's antisocial, and we start to take that on and we start to behave according to those titles. And I encourage you to challenge that and just really love yourself and be yourself, but start to communicate with those around you what it's like to be you. And the ones who really love you and support you and are here for you to move with on your journey, they're going to be open and receptive. And if they're not open and receptive and they're, abusive and they're hateful, they lash out and it causes you to feel insecurity about self, these are souls that are actually pushing you like with electric prod to move into expansion. And sometimes we don't see that. We are like, oh, how could grandma do that to me? Or how could brother do that to me? Or sister or mother? Because we think that there's this belief system we've been taught that we're supposed to stay with these humans for the rest of our lives, and that we need their approval and we need their love. And it's not true. It's conditioning. But when we realize we are the love and we have everything we need within, and our source, our source God energy, our angels are always with us. Ooh, I just like sucked that strong. When we realize that they are always with us, supporting us, we will live very differently, very powerfully, and we will actually teach others through our alignment. And so all these choices that you make to like mentor and work on yourself, to go see an energy healer, to practice meditation, when I tune into my Syrian guides, and this is where I've come from, is the Syrian star system, and I've been having lots of visions and memory of this, but my guides, they tell me that this is the most important thing that souls need to focus on for evolution. So any of us that are feeling stuck and we're ready for 2016 to be different, it's not about going and just joining a gym that you're going to quit in a couple months or a couple weeks. It's not about just, trying to people please those new people or get that different job or buy a bigger house. It's not all that external stuff. It's really this year, what if we each valued ourselves? What if we started the new year, not with a bunch of list of external things we need, but to just live and honor self? What if we make a pact, to thine own self be true, that 2016, I will be true to myself. I will be true to my source alignment, and I will love myself, and I will be courageous to walk forward and to roar my truth, no matter who supports that, no matter who loves me for it, because I'm not seeking external love anymore. I give it to myself from within because I am love. And what if we each had the courage to live in this way, where we started to move with such courage and we started to mirror this embodiment of self-love to everyone we met?
Take a drink.
Can you imagine? What's that, Amnon?
Take a drink, because I've got a few things here.
Yeah, I love it. People are talking today.
What is a good way to remove yourself from people who give off bad energy, especially if you don't want to cause conflicts?
Gotcha.
That's one.
Okay. So, first of all, a couple things here. One, you always have the right to move away from energy. No matter who it is, no matter who it's coming from, you have the right to remove yourself from that energy field. So if you're not a strong and aligned empath that knows they're an empowered empath and knows how to handle situations, sometimes the best choice is to move away from the energy. Not to stay there, not to fight it, not to try to handle it, but to move out of it. And so here's an example, like for myself, I have never felt comfortable in really loud, crowded spaces, and especially like, let's say bars, like a bar, a nightclub or a bar. And when I was younger, there was all this expectation that you're, to have a social life, you go out clubbing and you go to bars and you hang out with your friends. And for some reason, they want to hang out at bars where you can't even hear each other talk and you're screaming at each other. But anyway, those environments totally would stress me out. And I would look around at all the humans there that are celebrating and getting drunk, and I would want to cry, and I would just feel all the emotion. I would feel all the energy of what people weren't saying that was making them drink too much, that was making them act the way they were acting. And so for me, those environments really felt heavy and just yucky. And I started to finally get to a place where I realized those are not the environments for Tanya Love. And so even though maybe friends would be like, oh, wow, you're such a wuss, you can't come to the bar, or Tanya, just come and just be for a little while, I got to a place where I just really honored myself. And I said, I'm not judging you if you like going to a bar, that's fine. But to me, it's so uncomfortable, and I'm not going to do that to myself because I love myself, and I'm going to be the one that chooses the environments I go to. So that's the first thing, is to remember, no matter what it is, even if it's a job or a relationship, I'm going to tell you that because I've been in jobs and relationships that were enslaving and felt abusive and terrible. And there was a long time that I tolerated them and felt like I had to be there. And then it came a day where enough was enough, and I holographically leaped. Woo, we're jumping, angels, please show me the way. And they did every time. They took me to safer, more beautiful environments every time. So part of it is having the faith to trust that we all have angels. This is something we all have available to us, is this consciousness, our higher self, our guides. We all have them. And what I got yesterday, I spent like hours writing my book, and I'm so excited because I'm finally listening. As much as I teach about listening, sometimes even Tanya Love struggles to embody something. And for me, I kept getting the nudge to write. You need to write. You need to put this into books. And I had fans like writing me like, Tanya, where's your books? I want to buy your books. And so many signs were coming from the universe. Like, it is time to write the dialogue down. And so I started yesterday writing, and I was writing for hours. I got 25 pages written out, and I felt so good about that. But one of the big things that I was getting was that we just need to start listening, and we need to tune into our higher self. We need to realize that that higher self is always available to tune into. But so many of us, we go into like fearful, frantic human mode, and we're just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, so let me just go get busy and do something. And so we get busy, we scurry around, and we, like I make the analogy of jump on the hamster wheel, and it doesn't serve us. It actually exhausts us. And if we just each this year made our meditation, our practice, our time with Source, our time with higher self a priority, everything that you really want and need will magically fall into place. It will all come to you. And I can't teach that to you through words, because really I can only express that to you. But each of you have to have the courage and the wisdom to honor that and to give it a try. And each of us have to start to, put time into things that help us heal. Energy healing, mentoring with someone that's going to help you. These are a path towards solution. But so many of us will put I've talked to people like, oh, I can't afford it, Tanya, I don't have time. Yes, you do. You have time, you have money. It's just you choose to put it in places of addiction, your vices, your fears, your insecurities. And because you choose to keep doing that, you keep yourself stuck. So we all have that power to choose if we move away from an energy. For me, bold leap out of a 20-year marriage, no job, oh shit, angels are talking to me. Yeah, that really happened. And it all worked out magically. We also could be at jobs where we know that they're not showing us honor, they're not paying us what we know we deserve. We've politely asked, we've endured a lot, and finally you get to a place where you're like, you know what, enough's enough. It's time for me to leap. And sometimes we're afraid to leap because we don't know what's going to come and take its place. But I'm telling you, we have to get more comfortable with this, because we often need to release something and create space to let the new come in. So kind of think about if you have a really crowded house and you just hoard things and it's just crowded with stuff, it's really going to be difficult for you to invite new beauty and newness in when it's so compacted and cluttered. But when you clear out and you get rid of a lot of excess that you don't need, suddenly you have space to bring in new. And so if you're in a relationship that's terrible, or you're in a job you can't stand and the people don't treat you right, releasing it can be scary at first, but we have to embody this energy of faith. We have to start to move in faith and to remember the universe loves us and supports us, and your angels want good for you. They want the best for you, but often they're really ready to give it to you and to help you, but you're still clinging to the ancient. You're clinging to the old. You're clinging to the past, and that mirage, the illusion, it creates suffering. So that's okay. The first thing I would say. Is there another question?
Yes. Okay. Boomi's asking, when did Tanya first come into her gift? I have heard the following said about me, that I'm a seer and a prophet and do not even know it yet.
Awesome. What is the first part of the question? Like, when did who come into their gift?
You.
Oh, myself. Okay. Well, so when we go back to learning empath, my entire life, I was born knowing that I am not from here. Very young. People called me Angel all the time when I was a child. They could sense something in my energy, and I was just like this spark of light. And then around age 4, started going through a lot of abuse, like being abused from 4 to about 18.